Hello and welcome to another episode of CyberMasters with our special guest, Joely Leidner.
Right.
Did I say that right? Excellent.
Yes.
A job specialist, a hiring specialist. We met a couple of months ago and we've been having these amazing conversations about what it's like to hire people in today's market, you know? So
That's right.
I apologize. People know on the show that sometimes I mangle names. So I'm sorry. I
Mine
spelled
always
it
gets
right
mangled.
over here, right? That's spelled correctly, I believe, right?
Yes.
All right, look at that. Look at that.
Because I
So,
spelled it for you.
of course, that's how it worked. That's how it worked. But thanks for coming to another episode. Almost at the end of the year here. We've got a couple of shows left. I have a whole nother year planned to the show. Today, I plan to have an entire conversation with you about what it's like, what it's going to be like to hire people in the next 12 months. Now, you have how many years under the belt doing this?
20-something.
20-something years you've been
On
doing
the staffing side.
on the staffing side.
Before that, I was on the company hiring side.
Okay, so you played both sides of
yes.
it. So you were hiring people. You worked for a big company first.
Yes, I worked for Zurich Insurance, very big company.
Sure.
Yeah.
International, right?
Yes.
Wow.
I grew that company from around, when I started in New York office, 30, 40 people to over 1,000.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh man, how many people were you as part of hiring?
I hired a lot of the support staff and things like that. A lot of the departments hired their own, but I was involved in everything because I did HR there. I did everything.
What was the retention like of employees in that environment?
Oh, high. Most people stayed.
Was it a good culture? Was it a positive culture?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but I was happy. Yeah, I thought it was a great learning experience. I started when I was in my 20s.
Wow.
And I left there in my 30s.
Wow. So they were a great place to work, it sounds like.
Yes.
And then you broke out on your own and you started doing your own thing?
A couple of other ventures into big corporations. The Street.com was Jim Cramer's company.
No way, Jim Cramer?
Yes.
Well, what's his show now? It's on CNBC, right?
I don't remember.
Or one of those,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow, did you get to know him? Did you meet him?
I met him, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. Wow. What a celebrity now. That's great.
And, he was a celebrity back then, too.
Yes, really. He was always like
Yeah.
had that personality
Yeah.
about him.
I did a stint there, like a year or 2 years maybe. And then some other companies. And then to the staffing company side.
Mm-hmm. And then you went to work for a staffing company.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How many years did you spend there?
The first one I went to, 9-ish years.
9 years,
something
really?
like that at my first staffing company.
Mm-hmm.
And then I jumped to,
What gave you the knack to know how to put people into employment situations?
it's funny because when I hire new people now, there's so much of what I do that you can't train. So when you say the knack, that's just it. I have a really good knack and sense of connecting people. The right people.
Like a matchmaker.
I
You
am
should be writing a
It is a
dating site.
matchmaker. Yes, same thing.
Yeah, it is, really, if you think about it.
It is matchmaking, yes. So, and I just
Have you ever
love
thought
it.
about running a dating site also?
I have enough with the staffing. I don't need anything else.
Well, is it true, actually? Didn't I hear somewhere that most relationships start in an office setting? Is that true?
I don't know. I never heard that.
Yeah, I heard some statistic
You
that
mean
most people
friendships or?
hook up in the office somewhere, somehow in somewhere. Is that true? That more, like a large percentage of people hook up meeting at work. It's a great place to meet someone.
Well, because you spend most of your time at work, right?
But it's probably not the smartest idea to.
Well, that's why I think what I do is so important, because you literally spend more of your life at the job than anywhere else, than even at home with your kids or your spouse. Or
Have
whoever.
you, not to go too deep into it, but have you noticed that is a thing where somebody goes to work and they end up hooking up with somebody and they shouldn't? Is that something that happens in hiring where people hook up with each other and they shouldn't?
I don't hear that much.
Okay.
I really don't.
It's an interesting thought, you know?
unless people keep it to themselves.
That's true. That's true.
But,
right?
I mean, I've heard it once in a blue moon, but...
Yeah. Well, is that part of the culture now? A lot of the younger kids say, ooh, I want a pool table. I want my own office. I want a cool chair. Do they look at a place where you hook up also as an attribute?
That
you know what I'm saying?
never comes up on an interview.
Well, they're not going
Ever.
to tell you.
You'd be surprised what they
you know,
tell
Joley,
me.
Really why I want to work there.
You'd be surprised. I mean, I always ask, you want a big office, a lot of people, a small office? Like, people's personalities gear towards one or the other. So...
Yeah.
Should I say now what kind of chair do you need to work?
Well, I thought like people want like, a green or red color pool table, like.
Well, in tech, people want that, but usually in other offices, they don't expect a pool table.
Right, like all office, Like,
A
we
law
want the
office.
extra large water
Right.
cooler, please.
I don't think they have video game. They're thinking video games in a law office, but an IT office, that's actually usually the case where you would get that.
So it comes down to the technology thing. It basically, technology people need the pool table, but like an accountant's fine with just a regular desk.
Correct.
Okay. So now I got to ask a second question, okay? They have the raise up and lower desks. Do they come up? I need a desk that goes up and down when I sit. Because in my office, everybody's got to go up and sit down. So they're standing, they're sitting.
The desk?
The desk has got to go up and down now. You hear about this?
No, that's got to be a you thing.
No, I see it in law offices. The desks go up, the desks go down.
Well, I don't
half
think
an
the
hour
offices
they're standing,
are just
half an hour
buying
they're
their
sitting.
employees the kind of desk they want. They'd have to bring it themselves then.
Well, I mean, you could buy your own, but I would want it to match the rest of the furniture, no?
Yeah, I don't think that's a perk they've been offering people.
Okay. Well, I would think that if you're going to offer things like that, you'd want it to match the furniture. So
Wouldn't people
ultimately you
rather
need
get more
furniture.
salary than a specific desk?
I don't know. I know in my field, that desk has more value than salary. Well, no, to be honest, I mean, let's talk about this for a moment, because a lot of employers offer perks like cars. They'll cover your car. They'll cover your things. And in some cases, that feels better for an employee than maybe a couple extra bucks, I mean, I know in our company, we sort of manage a lot of that for our staff, and it's a really nice perk, you know what I mean?
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't really find that happening too much.
So it's really all about the money, the bottom line. You're about the bottom line. What's the bottom line?
what the number one thing important to people? Commute.
Really?
I say that all the time. Number one thing to people is the commute.
But everyone's working remotely these days.
No, they're not. They want to. It doesn't mean they are.
Really? Okay. So being in the office has a lot of importance now after COVID.
Yes. I think employers really want employees for the most part in the office. Always. I think people are using not the employees are using COVID as an excuse to get a job from home, but that's not really what employers want.
I agree. Being in the office huddling together is significant better teamwork than being remote. It's been proven, I can tell myself.
Right.
Sure.
I think some of the companies now are stuck because of COVID was for such a long period of time that they just decided to get rid of their space.
And now they're stuck without a space.
And now they're stuck. But, see, that wasn't really maybe the best decision. Maybe they should have kept a little office somewhere.
So you're saying commute is a primary factor. So in the New York region, what's the max range? Like, is 30 miles too far? Like, how do you judge?
So I do it different than everyone else.
Okay.
So when I talk about commute, I say, what towns or areas are you okay with? So, like,
But keep in mind, we're in a national show. Long Island is a weird place,
So there's, let's talk about Manhattan.
And
then the boroughs.
Yes.
I have people like in Brooklyn that want to work in Brooklyn, Queens, not Manhattan. So if you're in Brooklyn, and I have a job right now on the Upper East Side, and the subway doesn't go all the way to the river. It's a decent walk.
Got it.
So, commuting from wherever you're commuting to, then you have to take the subway, then you have to walk. Some people are like, oh, that's too far. I'd rather be like in Midtown where it's easier to get to.
Interesting. So geography is really a key thing.
It is. And then when you talk about outside of the city or even the boroughs, well, a lot of people, like, say, from Queens, they all have cars. So they want to work in Long Island because it's easier, and they have a car, and they just drive.
Right, it's easier to drive from Queens to Long Island than Queens
go
into the
Queens
city.
into the city. But then if you live in Suffolk,
Yeah.
no one wants to work in Nassau at all. If you're in Suffolk, I'm not placing you in Nassau.
Why? It's fantastic. There's no problem.
No, the traffic is ridiculous.
The traffic, yes.
And they want to be close to
Our 495
home.
is known for the eighth wonder of the world because of the traffic out here. Yes, that's true.
But, people, so when I talk about people like, 30 minutes, well, it could take you 30 minutes the majority of the time to get to work. But what about on the days it takes you an hour and 30 minutes because there's an accident or the weather or this or that? There's so many factors.
Now, that confuses me a little bit because when we grew up, people commuting to the city for 3-4 hours a day.
Right.
Now, they're done with that. I mean, we grew up with that kind of a cycle, right?
Right. You know what's interesting? Young people, like new college grads, always wanted to work in Manhattan. Now I see going away from that. No one wants to be in the city too much. They want to be close to home also. That was the thing. You graduate college, you get a job in the city, in Manhattan, and you move into Manhattan, and you live in Manhattan. Now I don't see that happening as much.
So let me ask you a different question. If the employee is given the right to work remotely 4 days out of 5, does a longer commute become more acceptable if you're only doing it once a week?
Yeah, but within reason.
Okay. Right, not like a 2-hour, 3-hour
No.
trip.
No.
But they'll do the Brooklyn to Manhattan thing if it's once a week.
Right.
Okay.
Right. But
Interesting.
I'm not getting so much remote work from home jobs.
Really? So what kind of
I have,
folks
like,
do you
none
place? What kind of
now.
folks do you place now?
I staff everything, every
Okay.
industry, every position. So, because I like to be a one-stop shop.
Okay.
So if whatever a company needs, they come to me, and I can handle all of it.
So
Because of my
from-
background, because, say I was at Zurich and I understood, what underwriter did and the reception did and the mailroom did, and then we had a kitchen and we had so I had all different.
So anything from a kitchen person, all the way to
I do everything.
CFO.
Blue collar warehouse people to the CFO. Yes.
Wow. How are you able to span so far? You have a big team. How do your experience spans to that degree?
Well, because I just understand how the whole business model because of my background and what it takes. Because to me, anyone just say, here's my job description, but I understand who I'm talking to, the culture, there's more in depth about it, and then who is a fit for that culture. More, and you could just, give me a job description, what you want the warehouse guy to do, give me a job description, what you want the accountant to do in the same company. I could say, oh, you do all of this, but you still may not be the right fit for that company.
Okay. Interesting. So you're really diving in and seeing if the culture fits, right? And if it's the right setting.
Right.
So you're really playing the dating coach, sort of.
Exactly.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
Exactly.
Do you do hundreds, thousands of people? I mean, a year?
I mean,
It span. I guess it varies based on the.
yeah, I mean, I have at least, 50 to 100 open jobs.
Really?
So
If someone's looking for work, they can come to you.
Absolutely.
And what's on the low hanging fruit, if you will, right now for you?
What I'm looking for?
Yeah.
Well, today I just had a doctor in a panic because he had hired an office manager and she was supposed to hire other staff, which she never did. And then she quit and she gave her 2 weeks. So now he has a manager leaving in 2 weeks with no staff because she never hired anyone.
Wow, okay.
So when she leaves, he has no one, he said.
So what kind of employees is he looking for?
So he's looking for a manager who can run everything, and it's a small office. So if I find him the right person, he necessarily wouldn't even need anyone else. He could run it, or maybe one other additional
We'll have
person.
to talk about that offline because I think I have somebody for you.
Okay.
And that's what networking is about, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Where you're constantly connected.
Absolutely.
Just by talking to you, I start connecting people myself.
Right,
I guess that's how it
right. And
happens.
once I took, like, people, even my friends don't even remember. So-and-so just got a new job. I'm like, well, why didn't I know about that? Why didn't you tell me they were looking, you know?
Why are you so into it? What makes you so excited about doing this work?
I don't know. I just love doing it. I just find it rewarding to me. I pat myself on the back because no one else does. People don't even remember I got them a job. They could be in the best job ever. They're like, who? Who placed me? You know? But I just find it rewarding and I love it.
Is that a big part of it? Because I've recommended an intern to someone here, and we were in a group meeting, and she was a wonderful girl, went far. And I recommended an intern, and she succeeded here.
Right.
And he's talking about her like, oh, I'm like, yeah, I recommended. He's like, oh, she came from you?
Right.
I was like so offended by that, you know what I mean? I guess you got to have a thick skin to be in your kind of work where
Right.
people will know each other. You're referring people. They may not come through you, you know?
Right. Right. I don't know. I just had one new potential client that I sent a resume to, and he got back to me and said, I know that person. If that person was looking for work, they would have came to me directly. So I'm not using you because you sent me someone I know.
That's exactly what I mean. How do you deal with that?
But that was, obviously I'm on the right track because if they knew each other and they were friendly, then I'm looking at the right personality fit because they already knew each other and liked each other. So I hit the nail on the head, but he was.
It took you to make the conversation happen, so you clearly were the matchmaker, regardless if they knew each other.
Right.
So there could be two people sitting right next to each other, perfect for each other, but they
don't know it.
They don't talk to each other.
They don't talk to each other. Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't go around saying I need a new job or I'm miserable at work, or they just, if they're unhappy and they want a new job, a lot of times they just ignore it and don't think about it until someone pushes the issue.
How do people get in touch with you? How do they?
They could call me, they could email me, they could
right.
Facebook me.
Facebook? You want to pull up your Facebook
My
and check it out
Facebook?
for a minute? Are we on here?
We're on here.
Here, let's take a look. This is your Facebook page.
Okay.
Okay, people can find you on Facebook.
Right.
Feel free to go up and down and navigate what you'd like to talk.
So my personal name, I also have the Jobs by Joley, which I post my jobs, but on my personal name, which is really also an extension of the Jobs by Joley Facebook.
Gotcha.
I do every day. How do you use this? This? Oh, here. Yeah. I do every day.
Well, hold on.
Wait.
Are these memes?
Wait, we'll skip that.
I love memes.
Oh, right. All right. So
I'm a meme freak.
Right. So every day I post the Jobs by Joley humor. Every day.
I couldn't find a parking spot at work today, so I went home. Looks like they had enough people. That's kind of
now
interesting.
that was already.
What's
I'm
that?
already recycling because some of them are so good. I have to share them because that was from last year.
So I don't really get it. Hold on. I don't really get it. What is that joke about? So you went home. What is that? I don't really get it.
You're laughing.
Well, it sounds ridiculous. You know you can't park, so you just went home. You're a lazy bun.
That's the point.
Okay.
Of the meme.
Gotcha.
Wait. So how? Yeah, like this.
I don't want to be mean. Like you're
how about
lazy.
this?
You know.
No, they're really like sarcastic memes.
Okay. Boss, you've been late 3 days this week, so you know what that means. It's Wednesday. All right, that's pretty funny. I get that one.
So, that was my last night. I went to see the Beach Boys.
No way. How was that show?
Freaking amazing.
Really? Oh, man. They
Yes.
look great. Look at those guys.
Here's you.
That's me talking about us. Jobs by Joley.
Oh, wait. I just did something wrong.
That disappeared. Let's see what happened there. Let's just go back here for a second.
There we are.
There you are.
Okay. So now, I can't go left or right. I got to just go up and down.
Correct.
So
that's you. Just let's stop for a moment. Let's just see your logo. So that's
my company.
Your company, and from there, people can find you and your phone number, and you're readily accessible,
Yes.
right? People can call
and
you.
I staff all over. Like I'm working on a whole bunch of things in Virginia right now, Texas.
So it's not only New York.
Not only New York.
So if you have a doctor's office who needs staff, you can jump right
all
on
over
it.
the country, right?
All over the country.
Right.
Very interesting.
Or I have some IT in California. Okay. I do, manufacturing.
Well, we serve a number of doctors' offices.
I have manufacturing upstate, like all over.
Manufacturing upstate, okay.
I mean, everywhere.
What's that? Hold on, let's go back there.
That's my...
Click on that. Let's see, can I pull that up here a little bigger?
Sheps
Look
Media,
at that.
Long Island Power Woman.
Wow. Long Island Power Woman.
Yes.
Wow. Is that a cape? Oh, no, that's just your part of your dress. Well, that's really awesome. That's really fabulous. Yes, what happened there? How did you win
recently,
this? Okay.
Well, they came... two of the women in the picture came to me and said, we think that we want to sponsor you to do this. Mm-hmm. We think you deserve it and you should be honored.
And they sponsored you.
And they did.
Wow. That's a pretty big deal, no? Yeah. I know some of the folks in there. Jonathan Carroll, we were talking about him.
Yes.
Earlier.
Great insurance guy.
Great insurance guy.
Yeah. So this is why. So I have in the picture, I have insurance, I have accounting, I have mortgages, I have banking, I have health and wellness, all these people that came to support me in all these industries.
And now IT, of course.
IT, yes.
Yes. We're already working on something together. You connected with me with somebody, and somehow surprising to me, it was sort of right on what we had discussed.
Right. I can't believe you're so shocked that I listened to you.
No. So so not many people listen to me. Well, people on this show, but not my personal. But somehow we spoke, and we spoke again, and you were like, okay, and you just kind of went into the background and produced exactly what we were talking about. Like I didn't realize the wheels were turning. The wheels were turning.
Well, because that's what I want to do. I want to make life easier for you. The way to do that is when you need an employee. I know what it's like for me to hire my own employee. Mm-hmm. It's stressful. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I got to do this and I have to do it quick.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So when someone talks, I want to get it right on the first try because that's a win-win.
Let me turn it around on you for a little bit. If you're watching the news, tech companies find it fashionable to lay people off in this current quarter. Microsoft.
Did it actually say that?
Well, I don't know. Well, we were talking Microsoft's numbers are up, but they're firing 10,000 people. I was like, why are they doing that? Oh, it must be fashionable to fire people at this point. I assume there'll be many qualified engineers in our industry in the very near future. Do you agree with that from these firings?
Well, I have to say it's too soon to know what the candidate pool from these layoffs is.
Well, Twitter, what was it, 8,000 people?
Is it Amazon too?
Amazon, Microsoft, tens of thousands of probably very skilled technicians, right?
I can't say. Maybe they're not. Maybe they were just doing one certain task. I don't know.
Is it possible that those engineers who are getting paid a pretty penny to be in those positions will not be able to match the salaries they were getting?
That is very possible.
What happens to them? What do they do? Cut back on their lifestyles?
I guess it depends on what they do and how much they're making and, if they were overpaid or not. If someone's overpaid.
Think about the stock options going down, salaries gone. It's... 20 years of Twitter, and now you're starting over.
But that happens a lot. I see that all the time. People being paid X amount that are not worth that X amount if they go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, I can only have that X amount. That's my lifestyle.
Right.
But now you don't have that job, and you got to go somewhere else. But you have to train, or you have to... grow into that something else.
So how do you prepare for that? Be able to regress if something happens. How do you prepare for all this?
You can't really. You really can't. It's hard. It's a problem.
Not only that, what it does to your psyche besides your wallet.
Right.
Right?
Right.
How you feel about yourself and everything. And
right. But there are some places that pay people very well. They've been there for a certain amount of years.
Sure.
Where they got to a level where, maybe they're not hands-on, like say in IT. Maybe they're management and they just oversee things. They're not so hands-on. Mm-hmm. And maybe for their next job, it's hard to get a management role. Mm-hmm. And they don't want anything below management, but they already have managers in place. So you have to be more hands-on. Someone may not want to do that, right? Isn't that an issue?
Absolutely. I guess what I'm thinking is if, let's say you've been at Facebook or Twitter or any of these places for 20 years.
Right.
Someone who's 20 years younger is willing to accept a lower number and possibly produce the same results.
Right.
That's what I'm concerned about. The technology is moving so fast that it's possible that somebody who's in their early 20s, fine with a marginal salary, could beat the guy who's been there for 20 years, technically wise.
Right.
So isn't it a perfect time to shed these waters? But how fair is that to these dedicated employees that built these companies up to billions of dollars?
Well, they already lost their job, so there is no such thing as fair. Companies have to do what's best for the company.
Yeah.
Ultimately, right?
Yeah.
People think their jobs are always protected, but they may not be. Company comes on hard times. That's it.
What do you tell folks how to protect themselves? Save for a rainy day.
That's probably the best thing people can do. I look at people that just quit their job, and I'm always asking that question: why did you just quit without another job? And they'll say, "Oh, I have enough money to last me a year, so I could do that." But it
goes quick.
I don't understand. Are you that miserable at the job that you had to quit before you found another job? If you find another job, take a few weeks off in between, not just not have another job. People think, "Oh, I'll get another job, no problem." Then they finally find me and they come to me 6 months, 8 months later. They're like, "Now it's imperative I get a job because now I'm running out of money." I'm like, "Okay, but you quit your job. You didn't think about that before?"
What the heck happened? Sure. Well, listen.
But I can't, I don't judge. People do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Working takes a toll on people. Maybe they needed that mental health break.
Sure. So just going back to your website and your Facebook there.
Well, we could get rid of this,
I want to see a couple. Just scroll up. There you go. Perfect. Let's see some of these more.
Okay.
We'd like to promote mental health in the workplace. No, not like that. Try yoga. Okay.
No, because it says you missed it.
Okay.
The company says we'd like to promote mental health in the workplace. The employee says, how about hiring more people so we feel less pressured and increase our pay so we can keep up with the spiraling cost of living so we're not stressed out? And the company says, no, not like that. Try yoga.
I got it. It's longer. Okay. Got it. Sorry, I didn't get it on the first try.
Right.
I'll get the next one. Don't worry.
Then I have some jobs posted here.
Okay. Oh, really? So what do we got posted here?
Want to see?
Yeah. So
my great day the other day, where we got 2 new grad phlebotomists.
Ooh.
Their foot in the door, which is very difficult to get a new grad phlebotomist a job.
Why?
Because they have not drawn blood on real people a lot of the times. They go to school, they take a class. Maybe only the students in the class they've practiced on.
Yeah.
Which is not too difficult, probably. So you draw blood on 20 people, and then you want to get a job in a medical office or a hospital to draw blood, but you don't really know what you're doing so much.
Oh, my gosh. All right. So I'm sorry. Okay, you really hit me with a pet peeve.
What?
I have scaredy veins. Whatever that is. Me and my partner both, we've got scaredy veins. Sort of when the needle comes through it, they get scared and they run away and they never have a like I have to have the small needle put here if I draw blood.
Right.
It just never works for me.
Right.
It's so scary with some people drawing blood. For our insurance, Mark, I got to talk about this. The lady drew blood for our insurance thing. My arm was welded red like this for 2 months.
Oh, my God.
I totally get what you're saying, That's scary stuff.
Right. So it's very hard to get a new grad phlebotomist a job.
Really?
And I got 2 of them in one day.
Because they have no experience.
0 experience.
Okay.
And that's, you know.
I have some funny jokes. They could get experience, but I guess they have to just, practice on real live humans.
Right.
Wow. Okay. I guess that lady did that on me that day. That's pretty damn scary. What else you got? Electrical mechanical device manufacturing company seeing COO.
Yeah.
What?
That's
Wow.
a great job.
What do you mean?
They're
looking for an operations manager?
Yes.
Managing inventory?
They manufacture a device that they ship all over the world. Companies all over the world use their device. The guy here that owns the company, he invented this machine.
Okay.
And he needs someone to run his company.
Wow. All right. And it's right here in Long Island?
It is.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So an operations manager with some experience who may have been working in the city, this could be, what are the qualifications? Uses QuickBooks Enterprise. Pretty simple.
But that's very important to him because they run their entire business off of QuickBooks Enterprise.
Okay, well, I know QuickBooks Enterprise better than I know myself, so I just assume everybody knows.
But you'd be amazed how many people don't know it.
Really? If you need any QuickBooks, I know QuickBooks fabulously.
Right.
Yeah, okay. It's interesting. I just assumed everybody knew QuickBooks like the way you knew Word.
Not at all.
Really?
The majority of people don't know QuickBooks.
I'm a freaking nerd.
They don't know it, really.
But somebody who has operations experience dealing with QuickBooks, dealing with inventory, you have a job potentially lined up for them.
Right.
Ooh, very exciting. Okay.
Right. Someone who is in a manufacturing company that knows they could run the show, but they're just not giving that level of opportunity because someone's running the show already. Maybe they're right below that person, but that person's not going anywhere. This would be an opportunity for them.
Love it.
Or someone that had a business at one point that closed their business. So,
Interesting. Okay. Good to know. Really interesting. So companies who are in this position, they can come to you and you'll find them sort of a custom match.
Right.
For their niche and culture fitting.
Right.
Well, interesting. Okay.
Right.
Now people don't realize manufacturing is still huge on Long Island. It's a tremendous business base of manufacturing here on Long Island, right?
Yes.
All right. Nice. All right, let's keep going here. All right, my exposure to anything work-related in the next month. Sounds like a 2023 problem. I love it. He's opening a beer. Wow. Yeah,
things.
He doesn't want to work next
my
week.
Baby Yoda memes.
So I'm a workaholic. I love doing things. I can't imagine somebody who doesn't want to be active doing multiple things at the same time.
There are plenty of people that,
Yeah.
Well,
is it that much fun to kind of not do anything?
I don't know, because that's not me either.
I know. I guess there's people.
I'm sure there's. But listen, everyone has a day where they come into work and they're just like,
I get tired.
Can't function today. I guess, right?
You're allowed to have an off day and chill, but on a regular basis, I gotta be.
Yeah, this is a funny one. Let's
see
this
that one. Okay. What do we got? Why is it when something happens, it's always you? Because we're short-staffed and you don't hire anybody else. Now, that's a great excuse. Yeah. So I think that happens a lot, though, right? So people are understaffed and they end up relying on the 1-2 people and they burn out. Right. And then you lose that person also. Talk about burnout a little bit. How do you see that in the hiring process?
You know what? I don't see people talking about it so much.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't.
It's got to be happening if they're so upset that they're willing to leave before they have another job or whatever.
Right,
they're burnt out, no? Isn't that frustration to maximum is also burnout?
I don't know. A lot of people, I feel like, just maybe don't like the culture. Mm-hmm. I think it's maybe more like they don't like the culture as opposed to burnout.
Culture has more value than being overworked.
Right, because if they like what they're doing and they like the people.
Mm-hmm.
I had a woman come in today who loved her job. She just wanted more money and she was looking to leave, but she's still in school. And I was like, ultimately, you're not going to stay at the job you're in now because you're going to school to do more and to better yourself. in your industry. So in a year, you're going to look for a new job anyway. Why not just focus on school, and for a couple of dollars more now, you're happy.
That makes perfect
you like
sense.
going to work. Why are you going to leave that when you're going to leave it because you're going to be at a different level?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't even think about that on her own until I told her today, because I'm not all about I make money.
But that's very
when I place
logical.
you.
How
but I
did she
said
not-
I told her, I said, I don't think you should leave your job. I'd love to get you a new job if that's what you want, but I don't think that would be right for you. And I said, think about it, go home, think about everything, and let me know. I never push people because I can't make that decision for people.
Interesting. So they'll come to you and they've had it where they are, but they just need to talk to somebody for a few minutes.
Probably.
And it's probably fine for another year or two.
Right.
Because it's logical what you're saying.
Well,
when
maybe
your
they don't
recommendation
realize
is.
they're in a good situation. Because they don't really know what's out there.
Do you see that a lot? People are doing just fine, but they're hearing things that should be better. Oh, you should be doing this.
Right.
You should be making that.
Well, they want a couple of bucks more. That's a big thing. I don't see employers really giving proper increases. They probably should. That's a big thing. I mean, I have people all the time coming in. They've been at a job 5 years, 7 years, no increase ever.
Do you agree that at minimum it should be a 3 to 5% increase annually? What do you think?
It depends. Maybe they don't get an increase because their work performance didn't warrant that. But if their work performance was amazing, why not a 10% increase then? Depends on what they're making and what the scale is. The companies always look at what everyone else is making also.
Sure. It's got to be stretched across a pool of employees,
Right,
of course.
employees always seem to talk, so you're going to piss one person off if they're making more or less than another person.
Well, I was at Nassau County. Employee reviews are against the law. So it was very odd. I used to be laughed at over it regularly with those 30,000 employees. But in that government, employee reviews are against the law. How do you think a government survives under conditions like that?
They have unlimited resources, no? They're the government.
What happens to an environment when you make employee reviews illegal? Aren't employee reviews like?
But then why do all corporations do them if they're illegal?
No. In the government.
The government makes them illegal, but not for
everybody else,
private sector.
Of course. I would think that employee reviews are the essence, keeping track, being involved, or knowing where they're at to be able to advance them as necessary, no?
I would think. I did not know that it's illegal for the government to do a review.
There are several governments in the United States where the union has made it against the law to review their members. Now, our audience may not be aware of that, but be very aware you may be in a government where those employees have never been reviewed since their hire date. Well, wouldn't that be dangerous overall? You recommend employee reviews annually on a general level? What do you think about employee reviews?
I think that it's the overall morale of an employee. They want that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Right.
If someone is really doing a good job, they want to be recognized, and you have to do that every year, whether it be an increase, and if you can't do an increase, maybe just a bonus. I know companies that don't give increases ever. They just give a bonus at the end of the year based on the company's performance.
Nice.
And the employee's performance. But you
Where
have the
everybody's
same
in on the
salary
same time.
forever. I mean, people would like an increase.
Right.
That's really what people want. But a lot of times they'll give $1. I mean, that's not an increase.
Right. What do you think is in this region a fair increase on a company that's remained profitable after COVID? I guess in my head I always thought about that 3 to 5% at
Right.
minimum.
That's what it's always been for.
You know, it had since I remember
right.
learning how to do accounting. You know,
Right. Right. But there were times where, say, back in the day when I worked in big corporations, and I would get that, I would think it's not enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would be like, because I knew my salary, if I was so underpaid compared to other people, I was like, well, I should get more of an increase because I've taken on so much more. And so it's hard to say. It's really individualized.
Is it harder to work with the new millennial generation than it was with employees 20 years ago when you started? Is it different? Is it the same?
I'm trying to, I try to figure that out actually on a daily basis.
And what do you,
because
what do you
it's
see?
important.
What do you see?
And I'm just so torn on what I think about it today. I mean, I have a child that is 21. Is going to be entering the workforce.
Wow.
But I have my values and I crack the whip, And I think that you have to give your all and you have to take stuff, you have to, there's a lot to learn. There's a big learning curve. You can't go in and just expect.
What do you mean you have to take it all? You have to be more tough-skinned?
Definitely have to be more tough-skinned because, people are trying to teach you and some younger ones think maybe they don't need to learn it or they
already know all of it.
Or my way is better.
Sure.
Sure. I mean, information is transmitted different from back in the day. I mean,
Clearly.
We couldn't do this how many years ago?
Yeah, totally. Right.
Right?
Exactly. Good point.
So it's very different, I guess, the mindset. I don't know, but I still try and figure that out. I'm still not 100% sure. If you're a hard worker, you're a hard worker, and you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
If you don't want to work that hard, then...
Were there more struggles back in the day which made us harder? Less struggles makes it not as competitive? I don't know. When you look overseas, China, Europe, some of these young people are advancing tremendously with education and are very motivated, very competitive. Has this country lost some of their competitive edge, in your opinion?
I think possibly recently people want more handouts.
Yeah. I'd love a handout. So, if anybody has...
Well, someone just said that to me. They quit their job. And I said, why'd you quit your job? She goes, well, I had saved up everything I was given from the government during COVID. And I had enough to live on for a while. So I just quit.
But then you're losing all of that traction in your art for the time you're gone.
Right.
Re-entering for not working from a few years must be all difficult.
And then you start lower in salary. Right? And it's harder to get back in. Well, what's the reason you didn't work?
In the accounting field, can somebody be out of it for several years and then return?
It's very hard. It's very, very hard. You have to start, go back a few steps.
In what industries is it
even
the easiest?
IT,
In what industry is it the easiest to come back from a long waiting period, from being away from a while?
You know what? It's hard because the basis now is computer skills. No matter what you do, in every single job out there, you have to have some sort of computer skills. And a lot of people come into me and I'm like, do you know how to use Word? Oh, yeah, I know how to use it. Well, where did you use it? I haven't used it, but I did use it 5 years ago. Well, you can't really just pick up.
What's the best way?
Especially Excel, that's hard too. That's hard. If you're not using it,
where do you get that training if you're rusty? Where do you go?
Well, you can go to school, but then again, you're only showing the basics. You're not
a job seeker
it.
who needs to brush up on Excel and Word, where do they go?
I tell people to check with their local college or their local library.
Those library classes are fine to get you up and running, right?
Right. But still, you don't really have practical experience on that. So I find the hardest thing when you're out of work for a while is the basic computer skills.
The basic
of every industry.
Really.
Yeah.
And basic computer skills, you're talking about Windows, Word, and Excel.
Right.
What else?
And then a lot of companies use some sort of software, which a lot of them will teach. And it's just about your being able to pick up on their system.
What if you're a slow learner? Could you do research and get prepped for this?
So you're better to talk about
you're
it
the
than
hiring
me.
person. I'm supposed to ask you the questions here.
Right, but you know the answer. You know, do you think
Yes,
someone
they're
could
leading
come
questions.
in? Do you think someone could come in and just pick up your software and know everything? You know, they haven't done it in a while.
Well, I see something different. I see people saying a lot of cool things, and most of them don't mean it.
Right.
Oh, I could do this, this, and this. We're like, all right, well, we test you when you come in. They're like, hey, it's embarrassing in minute one.
Right.
But people write they know Word and Excel on the resume.
It's so funny. That reminds me when I got my job at Zurich way back when computers just were coming out.
Yeah.
And I remember I needed to know Excel to get that job. And I didn't know it. Where would I use it? It was just
Came out.
invented, you know? I don't even think people had computers at home at that point yet. And I happened to get that job through a recruiter.
Okay.
So the recruiter said to me, come to my office. We have Excel.
You learn it here.
And learn it here. So I took a quick class or whatever I did on my own. I sat down with the Excel at the recruiter's office and just basically learned it. But then, so at least I knew what it was for the most part, you know. And then I went to the job and I remember that I was like, all right, do this spreadsheet, you know. And I was like, oh, wait, I could figure this out. And then with the basic tweaks, I picked it up pretty quick. But, you know.
A lot of self-initiative there.
Right.
And meeting the right folks that gave you the opportunity.
Right.
But certainly, if someone was getting a job and they're like, Ed, I need to brush up on XYZ, come over. We'll have a beer. I'll show you it. Even this OBS software that you see, I'm happy to train anybody on it for nothing. You know, I'm good for a sandwich. But nobody asks. You're welcome to learn it. I'll teach you.
You have to take the initiative.
Exactly.
You know?
And certainly what happens in my industry as I fight and gnaw to try to learn it, then when I talk to others, I said, I tried this, and this, it didn't work. They go, he gives a shit. I'll tell him the answer. But if you're like, yeah, I got the software. Well, how do I start? Where do I click?
Right.
No one's going to help you. Dig deep into it.
Right.
And then ask for help, and you'll have respectful answers.
Now, I forget all the time that you could, YouTube, know how to do almost everything, anything. So I forget that that's, something you could do. But
Totally.
I feel like younger people, that's second nature. Oh, let me YouTube how to do that.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, they should be doing that for everything. For me, if I have a new client, I'm going to Google them and look up their website and look who they are, you know? So anyone going on a job interview should think, oh, let me look them up and go to the website and this and that. People don't even think that. I have to remind them all the time. You know, do a little research.
Yeah, no question. And I want to put a point to that. I just bought a second DSLR camera for the show, and it's called the SL3. And yeah, I watch YouTube videos every night to learn the intricacies of how to use this device perfectly. I learned how to use this software we're on automatically. Everything about the studio I learned off YouTube in the last year.
Right.
You know, so totally, absolutely. Now that's a pretty sophisticated piece of equipment that over the course of 2-3 months we'll know most of it from many experts who talk about it live in podcasts and demos. You know, that's a great way to learn and multiple people's perspective.
Right. I think you can learn how to fix your own car on
People
YouTube.
do. People learn how to
Right.
build houses.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
I need a lot of auto mechanics all the time.
Auto mechanics. Well, I hope to watch the self-help Neuralink implant video. Instead of going to the doctor, I'm going to be right here on camera, make a little cut and stick it right in there. You know,
You're fine.
I'm actually looking forward to the Neuralink. I hear in 6 months I'll be able to apply for it, and it's a small chip that's invented by Elon Musk. It's called the Neuralink, and it'll be an implant right here. They cut a small hole,
Right.
and they implant the computer, and I'll be able to control everything around me just by thinking about it.
Really?
What do you think?
No.
Well, I'm not. I'm going to do it for myself. I'm not asking you to do it.
I think that sounds terrible.
Why?
I don't know.
I could think faster than I can type.
And what about when you change your mind?
Well, I'll do it live on the Neuralink. You know? So I'll tell you something very interesting. People find it ridiculous. But as artificial intelligence becomes something that's really part of our culture, we're going to need that Neuralink to compete with the machine. Watch how sadistic that turns out to be. In order to compete with the AI thing, you'll need the Neuralink to be at the same level. That's what's scary about the future. AI can have us for breakfast as humans. We'll have to be part machine to survive what it has planned for us.
That's scary.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can recommend some great movies along that, too. Anyway, I look forward to talking to you more about this. We've gone an hour. You know, what are we going to talk about? You know, anyway, we've got an hour, and I hope to have you back. And it's very interesting what we talked about. I just want to finalize the show by asking you the main question: what are people to expect in 2023? And is there any specific industries you'd like to highlight with what you think? You know, will hiring be easier? Will there be more candidates or less in the New York region?
I have to say that since I've been doing this so long, times have been tough. Times have been where they say times have been tougher. Times have been easier. I don't really see that. I see it's been an even level playing field my whole career in staffing. I really do. There are always jobs to be had. It's just a matter of the right fit. It really is. And I always
That's
say
so motivating.
I say things like I fit square pegs in round holes. Like I have all these. I say at some point something comes across my desk for almost everyone I meet. It's just a matter of timing. Like I have all these things that I say, but really, like I'm always busy, thankfully. I think I do a great job at what I do, and people come back to me and recommend me. So, my business is always growing, and there's always jobs. It's just a matter of
What industries would you highlight in 23 that would be exciting growth?
Accounting.
Accounting.
But it's always accounting.
It's always
Accountants
accounting.
are always needed. And then again, you're a new college grad, you go to school for accounting, you want to get in an accounting firm, it's hard. You have no experience. You have to get in where they're going to want to train you. Mm-hmm. And then with accounting now, you have to go back to school. You have to get your master's and take the CPA. It's not an easy road. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But in the long run, it pays off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Accounting, definitely.
What about law?
I was just going to say, right now, I need a ton of attorneys.
Really?
And they're very hard to find.
What kind of attorneys? Any specialty attorneys?
Everything. I have a bunch of law firms looking for attorneys, accounting and attorneys, big time. And the trades. Like I said, auto mechanics. I can never have enough auto mechanics.
Really?
There are that many jobs for auto mechanics.
Really?
Yeah. And
now that can be pretty decent pay. I mean, more than C-level.
6 figures. 6-figure jobs for auto mechanics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Really? That's incredible. Yeah, people are afraid to do the trades. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not good on cars, but I'd be a fabulous landscaper. You know what I mean?
Right.
But who knows? Maybe for my next career, I'll come to you and maybe,
We just met a company. They need personal trainers. They're a personal training company. They need. I mean, literally.
Why can't these companies hire their own people?
They can't find them.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, it's even hard for me to find a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I find that once again, I can send them personal trainers to interview. They may not hire them. They're not the right people for them.
Mm-hmm. And personal trainer is a decent salary as well?
Yeah, they do okay.
Oh, wow.
Depends on the place, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, location and the kind of business.
Right.
Well, listen, thank you for joining us on CyberMasters. Very interesting show. I hope you come back.
Well,
and
thank you for having me.
We'll talk about more details. I'd love to come back.
I would definitely love to come
maybe
back.
like list some positions and get a little bit detailed. Maybe people can really jump in who watch the show, you know? Maybe give some real life examples and let's see what happens in January, you know? If there's anything specific you'd like to let us know about in the future too, I'd love to share with the show. There's a couple thousand people who watch, and who knows? I think we could probably connect you with a bunch of people.
Just go to my Facebook and see my Everyday Jobs by Joely humor.
So you want to just pull that back up? Is that this site?
This is my personal name.
But that's how they can find
you. Which
is
the
But works at Jobs
also.
by Joley, which we can click on, I believe. There we go. That should let you right in. No, it didn't?
Oh, you know what?
There
we can do this way. Oh, no, I don't know how this works.
No, right. Well, either way, we're good to go. Jobs by Joley. Click on the first one there. That's the one. That's right on Facebook.
That's the company one, right. And then I list the jobs,
very nice.
different jobs
no funny
here.
jokes on that one, huh? Okay. Well, maybe a little bit. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, this is a great job, too. This a great IT company. See?
Yes. Okay. Nice.
Right? They're looking for technicians, and they're also looking for an office manager.
Oh, man.
What?
I know a perfect guy for that. We got to talk.
Payroll manager.
Yeah, I know the guy who knows a payroll manager. Okay.
Lots of sales.
We got to hang out more. We're going to connect. We got to connect here.
Lots and lots of sales.
Right, I'd
See,
love for you to
run the gamut.
So why don't we do this? You'll be the official job hiring specialist for the show.
I thought I was already.
You are. It's now it's official.
Okay.
Jobs by Joley. You guys want a job? Call me. We'll hook you up. You'll meet a great person. And even companies. You guys have problems hiring?
Right.
Give her a shot. So it's very easy to speak with you. And I know a lot of hiring managers that maybe are not as easy as to talk to as you are. So thank you.
Well, that's what I do because I match the people that can take certain things from a company to, some people can't, some people can't. Mm-hmm. But one more thing. I just met a girl, great girl. She's in college. She was such an introvert. And I actually told her, for every interview you go on, you need to tell them who you are, that you're not really a team person. You like to work individually. You want to be left alone. And I just sent her to an accounting firm for an interview to do her tasks. And, she's like, no, I can't work with other people. I just want to be left alone. And I'm like, that's great. But tell people that when you go on an interview. Be honest. She was like, I think I'm going to do that from now on.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Some jobs are perfect like that.
Right. Perfect. So
right. Like the data center people work in the middle of the night shift,
right,
by themselves,
right, and they love that,
They
right,
love that, exactly.
Right. Just own who you are, and and be honest, and then you'll find the right fit.
Own who you are. Be honest. Find somebody who's personable to help you find that job, and there's opportunity regardless what's happening economically. Right. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. To be continued next week.